Yes, people, welcome back to another video on the channel. This is a big one. This is a big video. Breaking: Alexander Isak has reached a verbal agreement in principle with Liverpool on a contract running until 2031. So a 6-year contract at Liverpool. Plenty Goal reporting this. We can bring up the official tweet for you all. And this is what he's had to say. Understand Alexander Isak has already reached a verbal agreement in principle with Liverpool over a contract running until 2031. Isak wants to make the move to LFC as early as this transfer window. The clubs are in contact. His salary at Liverpool would be similar to Hugo Ekitike's. Newcastle are also still pushing hard for Benjamin Sesko, but Manchester United are also in the race. Now, I don't know if Liverpool's wage bill structure has been released and updated. So if he's on a similar to Hugo Ekitike, I'm going to try and find out Hugo Ekitike's value. So Hugo Ekitike is going to be on about 200 grand a week. So you can see they're similar. As you can see, similar to Hugo Ekitike's. You flip it back, he's going to be on about 200 grand a week. He's probably going to be about the third highest earner. Ekitike on a slight bit more than Florian Wirtz. That's kind of mad though, to be honest with you, especially how that's going to be interesting how that's going to go down. But the fact that Newcastle are now still pushing hard to find Benjamin Sesko is massive, because for me, for us to sign Alexander Isak as early as possible, Newcastle needs to bring in a striker, and Benjamin Sesko is clearly one of those names. Also, Fabrizio Romano did retweet this. Fab retweets. He has been confirmed that Alexander Isak reached a verbal agreement in principle with Liverpool over a contract running until 2031. We also do have some Fabrizio Romano updates for you. So the fact that Alexander Isak has agreed personal terms with Liverpool is big. And to be honest, that was never really going to be an issue. And also, Fabrizio did again come out and say that forget about rumours of other clubs for Alexander. It's only Liverpool Football Club. So yeah, it's only Liverpool Football Club he wants. He wants the Liverpool move, and hopefully, fingers crossed, he will get that Liverpool move. He really hope he wants. But there was some news regarding David Ornstein. Now, this is in the links with the Isak deal, that Manchester United are now prioritising Benjamin Sesko as their striker instead of Ollie Watkins. So it's going to be a race between Newcastle and Manchester United for Benjamin Sesko. And they are in concrete talks, and Newcastle are still pushing for the deal. So this is big. This is absolutely big, because if we are to sign Alexander Isak, we do need Benjamin Sesko to go there, in my opinion, in the sense of we need them to bring in a name. Whoever that name is, if that is Benjamin Sesko, they're already now being linked to Muniz at, I believe it's Crystal Palace. So they're already being linked to a lot of players, and they're going to need the money very, very soon. So hopefully they do cash in. I just don't see a world where Alexander Isak stays at Newcastle and doesn't want to be there. Now, there is talks that Newcastle have kind of been a bit fraudulent in this situation, because Alexander Isak has basically told Newcastle they wanted to only do one more season, and Newcastle have kind of gone against his wishes. Also, Fabrizio Romano also did again retweet this, which is big as well, just indicating that Isak to Liverpool is just certainly getting closer. It is certainly getting closer and closer for Liverpool Football Club. Other news regarding for the updates of Alexander Isak. Slot did speak on sales. Honestly, on signings and sales, we are making big signings. We have done that over the past few years, but this club also needs to recoup funds to get these transfers that we already did over the line. So for me, For me, Liverpool need to also focus on the selling players. Hence why Diaz has been sold. Hence why Keys looks like he's going to be sold. So there's other players that's going to be sold. Harvey Elliott, I expect to be sold. Darwin Núñez is reinterested back into Al Hilal as well. But people, let me know down below what you think to this big information. The fact that Liverpool now are closing in on a deal for Alexander Isak, and they've already reached in principle an agreement with Liverpool, Alexander Isak and his camp. So it's just simply looking like this deal is certainly getting closer and closer. The question is, when do I think the official bid will go in? I've been consistent. There's no point in Liverpool constantly bidding if Newcastle are not going to accept. So they may as well just get into club-to-club talks, as the reported, and fully focus on that and just going for one big bid and get the deal done. And I believe that is what is certainly going to happen. I think they've already reached a potential agreement, and the clubs are just thinking, look, we let Alexander Isak go once we brought on our players in, because once they sell Alexander Isak, the clubs are going to know, oh crap, they've just sold Alexander Isak. We can easily bump up that asking price of whatever player there is by a 10 to 20 mil price range. So I get the thinking there behind Newcastle. And I wanted to mention a couple of things. People thinking, are Liverpool making too many signings, etc.? People criticise Liverpool for not making signings, and when Liverpool do make signings, they're being criticised. We can genuinely not win in this situation. It's not like we're signing a load of up-and-coming players come on the up after just winning the Premier League title. We're bringing in my opinion, pound for pound, best Premier League striker in Alexander Isak. We just brought in one of the world's best 10s in world football, and we've seen how Florian Wirtz has played in the recent preseason games. He's gelling in like there's no tomorrow. Milos Kerkez has been solid in his preseason games, in my opinion. Frimpong I think he's been a really good addition. Ekitike obviously just made his debut for Liverpool, so again, still needs time on him. But the fact of the matter is that people are thinking genuinely, is this actually going to work? Of course it's going to work. Honest Sloss isn't stupid. He's not going to go and make a load of changes if he doesn't think it was going to work. Same for FSG, really. Would FSG really go and spend a load of money if they're thinking it's not going to work? We know how they work in their operation with money, so I simply just don't understand it. And I have full trust in my manager to get us over the line and get this deal done and actually make the players actually gel into the team, because I'm not really concerned in that regard. Also, I did want to bring up one last thing as to regards to the Alexander Isak bid. Is this, bear with me. This was interesting from Ben Jacobs. This is what Ben Jacobs did have to say on the situation yesterday. He said, on Alexander Isak, if they bid, I think they get the job done. So he's basically saying, ultimately, if Liverpool bid for the player, he thinks, it should get that done. Which is exactly why I think in Liverpool's case, they are simply just taking their time. There's no point bidding like 2-3 bids. We might as well let Newcastle bring their players in and then just get the agreement done over the line, and we get Alexander Isak as our player. As mentioned before, because there's no point bidding if they're not going to accept. So we might as well just get him as close as terms as possible with the club-to-club talks as reported over, 2 weeks ago? And then Liverpool just reaching an agreement between Liverpool and Newcastle. I believe they probably had a gentleman's agreement, because we know how Eddie Howe, Richard Hughes, Michael Edwards all work. They're all close friends, and there's no sporting director at Newcastle right now. So I believe they've had talks, and there's been an agreement that's going to happen, because Alexander Isak is literally refusing not to go back to training. He's literally said, I do not want to return. Respectfully, I want this Liverpool move. He is literally pushing so hard for the move, to Liverpool Football Club, and it's just music to my ears. But yeah, people, that is the end of the daily news update regarding Alexander Isak. Personal terms look to be agreed. Deal looks like it's going to be getting faster, and the bid looks like it's certainly coming. I just want to also say thank you so much for 2,000 subscribers. We're already on that road to 2.1k. Absolute unreal support especially over the past 2 weeks in this channel, in the channel of the growth and everything that comes along with it. I just want to ended up saying that. Take care, everyone. thank you all so much. Take care. Goodbye. God bless.